Welcome back, friends. Today we're going to talk about my new process for processing my brass. If you saw my previous video, I showed you how I take my dirty range brass and I clean it from start to finish and go through each particular step. And it's worked out pretty good, but now that we're up to about 6,500 to 7,000 rounds through our Dillon 750 over here, I've been experiencing some problems and I've really been frustrated trying to solve them. Mainly trying to get the brass to go smoothly through the first two dies, which is the depriming and resizing die and then the powder funnel. So I have looked at pretty much every video that I can find on it. I have also scoured the forums and left some questions for some people, and I've gotten some pretty good advice, some pretty dumb advice, and some stuff that just doesn't work. But I think I've come across something that has worked really, really well for me. The good news is about this, it really hasn't cost me any money. I hadn't had to go buy new dies or anything like that. And it's also eliminated two pretty lengthy processes. One of them is, what I would start doing is I would take my range brass, put it in my Frankfurt Arsenal wet tumbler over here with my metal pins. We're no longer using metal pins. I would use the old tried and true YouTube solution of Dawn dishwashing liquid and Lemmy Shine. Not doing that anymore. And then I would have to, of course, separate the pins from the brass, dry the brass, and then I was going to a dry tumbler with some sort of polish. New Finish is real popular, and then I came across this Flitz metal media additive, or not metal media, but tumbler media additive, and in hopes that that might change things, and it really didn't. So I've eliminated dry tumbling as well, which means I also eliminated separating the brass from the dry media. So those are two pretty big steps. The third step that has really changed things is I've eliminated this particular formula and came up with another formula. And it's a product that I want to share with you, and I think it's gonna be just really kick-ass. I've been happy with it so far. So let's get over here, let's get some brass, let's get it cleaned up, and let me talk to you about this new product I found. Well, I've gathered up two piles of 6 pounds each of dirty old range brass that we're going to try a little experiment on. We are going to do my old system using Dawn dishwashing liquid and Lemmy Shine with no pins, and we're going to run it through the Frankfurt Arsenal wet tumbler. And then we're going to do the exact same thing, except we're going to use this Brass Juice Case Wash, manufactured right here in the great state of Texas. As a matter of fact, just one county over. So I was able to get this stuff through the mail the next day. The formula for this is going to be 2 ounces per gallon. So that's what we're going to run. We're going to run it for 2 hours and see how it comes out. And then we're going to show you guys the results. Right after I run this, I'm going to do the exact same thing with the Dawn and the Lemmy Shine, and then we're going to compare them at the end. One other tip you might want to consider, just a little additional step, doesn't take any time. When I get my range brass here from the matches, one is in North Texas and they have some real small gray gravel and it gets all in the cases and things like that. The other place I shoot is down in East Texas and we have red, real fine sandy soil. So when I pick this stuff up, it is pretty dirty by the time I get it home. I pick it up in a little clear plastic bag and the whole bottom of it is full of crap. So what I do is I throw it in the little dry tumbler here and I give it about 10 seconds or so. That just gives me a chance to get all of this stuff out of there. And I think if you start off with cleaner brass in your wet tumbling, your solution will like it. It'll work a lot better. And if you start with cleaner brass going in, I think you'll have cleaner brass coming out. That's just a quick tip. Now this is something worth taking note of. This is the brass juice, and just notice the amount of suds that are still in here. I didn't get that with the Dawn dishwashing liquid and the Lemmy Shine, so I wanted to point that out to you. Now I also saw mentioned on some of the forums more than once that people have reused the brass juice again, and sometimes a third time with good results. So I think we might just try that. There's your dirty water. So I thought that was kind of interesting. We've got lots of suds with the brass juice, and not so much with the Dawn dishwashing liquid. So let's get this all rinsed out and check our results. Man, I want you to look at these two piles of brass. The difference is like night and day. This pile here is the Let Me Shine and Dawn dishwashing liquid, and this is the brass juice case wash. So much difference. This is, you know, it looks just like brand new brass when you open up a box of Winchester White Box or something. That's what this stuff looks like. Nice and shiny. This is kind of dull. Yes, it's clean. The interior of the case is not near as clean, but we're reloading pistol brass, and that's acceptable. But this stuff here is just quite a bit cleaner. If my camera would focus up real close, I'd love to show you that, but you'll just have to take my word for it. This stuff is twice as clean as this. Not only that, this brass over here, it has a different feel to it. It just feels like it's slicker or something than this. Yes, it feels clean, but not as slick. And that's one of the reasons I was doing the dry tumbling, was to put that final dusting on it in hopes it would go through the dyes better and my reloader would run, you know, the press would run smoother, but I wasn't getting that. And that's what I want to discuss with you next. How I ended up changing up my routine and what extra step I've done to make my life much, much better on the reloader. Well, you guys all had a chance to look at that brass out of this brass juice, and that stuff looked pretty kick-ass. I mean, it's clean, it's smooth. It looks like it's gonna be a really nice addition to my routine. Now, of course you wanna know, and sorry about the noise, but it's trying to rain here. But what you guys wanna know is, how did it run through the dyes? So I did a little comparison between these two. And before I started, I cleaned my depriming and resizing dye and my powder funnel with some Hornady One Shot, and let it dry. So I wanted everybody to have a fair comparison. And then I ran about 20 rounds through of the brass with brass juice. Clean those dyes again, because whatever was on the brass juice, I want to get out there and let these guys have a fair shot. And then I ran 20 rounds through there. Tell you the truth, wasn't a ton of difference. This was by far better, but not all what I'm looking for. I mean, I'm wanting really smooth. We're up to about 6,500, almost 7,000 rounds through the Dillon 750 here. And when I first got it, you know how everything is when you first get it, everything's really smooth. But over time, things have kind of slowed down, and I've cleaned the dyes and I've done everything I possibly can over there. So, still not satisfied with what I wanted to do, and that leads me to the final piece of our puzzle that changed everything for me, and that was the question of, what am I using for case lube? And just to give you a little background on this, I'd asked everybody I know about, you know, what to do about this, the forums, YouTube videos and everything. And so there's a guy that shoots IDPA matches, same place I do. He's also the guy that I get my bullets from. I switched over to him a few months ago. And he also does high volume reloading for competitors. So who better ask than a guy that kind of does it for a living. So I explained to him what was going on. He wanted to know my routine. I told him. He says, hey, we're not going to do any metal pins anymore, and we're not going to do any more dry media. He goes, call these guys up. This is all I use, this brass juice. It works great. And by the way, what are you using for case lube? And I said, well, let me think. Nothing. And he says, well, he goes, we got to fix that too. And he goes, I assure you, your life is going to be different. He goes, go ahead and order this up. They also make a case lube. Get some of that. But while you're waiting, do you have anything at home that you can use just for an experiment? Do you have any kind of case lube? And I said, well, I got some Hornady One Shot. He says, just run out there and get you a couple hundred rounds of your clean brass, your old routine, spray it down with some One Shot in a plastic bin like this with a lid on it. Shake it up, spray it again, shake it up. Try that out, see how it works for you. Don't be shy with the stuff, but don't soak it down either. And sure enough, it worked really, really good. And I said, man, this is gonna be great. Next day, this appears in the mail because fellow Texans are just the next county over. And I processed some brass, and you saw what it looks like. Sprayed it down with this, ran it through my dies, and I kid you not, it was as if Jesus appeared over the bench here next to the great American flag, parted the dark skies of my frustration, and said, go forth, my son, and reload. I mean, that's how great it was. It was one of, these moments. And I tell you, it's been great ever since. And really all I need to do is change up my routine a bit. Now, will it work for everybody? I don't know, you just have to try it for yourself. I mean, I've got friends that are still doing this and they just haven't had kind of the problems I have. A little bit of sticking here or there, but not really what I've been having. But man, I'm back to almost like brand new stuff. And so it's really been great. I've been really happy, and I really got to thank these guys over at Brass Juice for making this product. It's really great. So if you guys got any comments or questions, feel free to leave them down below. Share them with the class, if you will. We all kind of learn from each other. If you like what we're doing, don't forget to give us one of these, and please hit that subscribe button, because that helps me buy more Brass Juice. So until next time, you guys be safe, keep the muzzle pointed down range, and we hope to see you out on the range. Adios.